I want to introduce you to our first podcast. This is the County of Santa Clara Registrar of Voters Election Connection, Episode 1. Our first episode is with Shannon Bushey, the Registrar of Voters. Are you ready,
Hi.
Shannon?
I sure am. How are you today, Evelyn?
I'm good. So, Shannon, what is the mission of the Registrar of Voters office?
Well, we work hard every day. You know, our mission is to protect and ensure that all of our voters have a fair, have an accurate, inclusive, and transparent election process when they go to the polls or they vote by mail. Together, we're all election officials here. We conduct our, primary and general elections. We conduct special elections that, sometimes we have numerous of those every year. And those cover, state and federal, county, school district, special district. There's a lot of type of elections that we do here, which requires a lot of planning, and administration of those elections. We are also responsible for verifying signatures on all forms of petitions that come in, whether they're recall or initiative. We're also doing and taking care of our voter registration database and doing maintenance, always adding in voters or maybe canceling a voter if a voter moves, out of our county. So there's a lot that goes into elections. There's a lot actually behind the scenes that voters aren't really aware that happen. It's kind of funny. Most common question throughout the years I'll get asked, is like, do you work year round in elections? Because they think,
heard that.
And I'm like, yes, it actually takes, 3 to 7, 8, 9 months to conduct every election that we do here.
So to make it clear, I've heard it both ways. People say the Registrar of Voters office or the Register of Voters. Which one is it?
I have also heard that throughout the years. It is the Registrar of Voters. The registrar can be like myself, a title as the registrar of the voters in the county, or it can be the title of our department, Registrar of Voters. So people can think of it like the registrar registers people to vote.
Oh,
so,
I didn't even think about it that way. That's how I'm going to remember it. So how many years of elections experience do you have? I know you've been here a long time, but let's talk about that.
I have been in elections for over 27 years with a total of over 32 years of public service, all here in Santa Clara County. I love elections. Once it gets in your blood, it doesn't leave. And I haven't left either.
I know. We've been here a while. We've got a lot of years under our belt. As the ROV, what is the key to staying nonpartisan in a partisan world?
Well, I take my duties here and my responsibilities very seriously as Registrar of Voters. And my passion is to provide our voters with a fair and accurate election. I don't care who wins the election. What I care about is that the voters can know they can count on our election results, that it's fair and accurate. My job and my desire is to allow the voters' voices to be heard, and that's how they can do that, by voting. We go above and beyond here to count every eligible ballot that we receive because everyone's vote counts. And I also feel very strongly about all election laws must be followed. In my eyes, everyone is equal, and I'm going to treat everyone fairly and consistently.
Okay. I think that's why a lot of people stay loyal to the Registrar of Voters office too, because they see that passion in you. You know what I mean? They see that you care about the voters. You care about the people that walk in here. You care about the staff. So that's very transparent, and people see that in you. I love that.
Well, thank you.
Do you have any you have a lot of experience in elections. I'm sure you have a lot of memorable election stories. Can you share one with our audience, or a few memorable?
Well, the first thing that pops out in my mind is, I managed the Candidate and Public Services Division here for over 14 years. And that means I have worked with thousands of candidates doing their candidate paperwork and their nomination documents. And that includes a declaration of candidacy. And that is where, they put their name and ballot designation, how they're going to be on the ballot. But it's also where they take an oath of office. So with one of the candidates, the one that, I'll never forget, while I was giving him his oath and he was saying his oath, he his eyes started swelling up with tears. And I was just really touched. Yeah, because you could see it in his face and you could hear it in his voice, the passion that he had and how he wanted to represent the voters. I'm just never going to forget that all these years later. Yeah, that's one of the things that stands right out to me.
And then for me, when I see someone cry, then I start crying. Then it's like a chain reaction of people crying. So, that's nice. Yeah. What is the most impactful moment that you have had in your role as a registrar?
There's a lot that we do here at the registrars, but I guess more recently is with the election process to implement VCA, the Voters' Choice Act, short, we call it VCA here.
Okay.
As you know, in 2020, we implemented the Voters' Choice Act, which was really to help expand voting options for our voters. When you think back, we've been over 150 years of going to one polling place. You were assigned as a voter to your one polling place, or you could come to our office. But you had to go to your specific polling place. And now that we've switched to the Voters' Choice Act, we have opened up that one specific polling place to over 100 vote centers that a voter can go to and vote. So that was major.
It's so convenient.
Yeah, impact. The second major piece of the Voters' Choice Act implementation was allowing us to mail voters all a ballot. So we could just at the beginning of the 29-day voting period, mail out every voter a ballot. And that would help those voters who, I forgot to request a ballot to be mailed to me because I'm going to be out of town that week. So those are the two major impacts with VCA. In addition to entirely implementing multiple voting systems, programs to go along with the VCA to make it impactful and be able to use that. So really this implementing the VCA was about our voters, was about their convenience. How easy can we make it for a voter to have an option to go vote? They can live in South County but work in North County, but while they're at lunch, they go to a vote center in North County because they can go to any of our vote centers and vote.
Yeah.
So I think that's really most impactful for our voters because I really do hope it just makes it so much easier for them and then they will get out and vote.
I definitely think it makes it easier because they don't have to go to the one library that they've always gone to. They can go anywhere. So I love that.
Right.
What is the biggest challenge you still face that you wish to change?
I think my biggest challenge and our biggest challenge continues to be turnout, is voter turnout. Especially in like primary and special elections, but all elections. That is our goal is, one of these days we'd like 100% or close to 100% turnout of our voters. For example, like in this last primary that we had a few months ago, we only had 35% of our voters turn out. So we'd really like to increase that. I mean, special elections can even have lower than a 35% turnout. In addition with that same kind of challenge about voter turnout is getting the youth to turn out. We have been enhancing our outreach to the youth, the younger voters in our county, and especially doing so through an increase in our social media presence, where typically the younger voters are. They use a lot of social media, TikTok, and now I'm happy to announce that we're actually on TikTok with our videos to try to reach our younger voters in that social media avenue. And we feel, by putting that information out on social media and other platforms, just the more voters that can hear that and see that and gain knowledge about the election process and upcoming deadlines, the better. So I think that's going to be a challenge that we may never not face. You're always trying to increase our voter turnout.
Awesome. We have a voter that is going to be out of the country before ballots get mailed out, and she will not return until after the election. She still wants to vote. She still wants to be part of the, what's going on here. How can this voter still participate?
Well, that's also easy too. We have ways for that.
Good idea.
Voters in that kind of situation can use our remote accessible vote by mail ballot. So instead of using the paper ballot that was, mailed to someone's house, they can access online an electronic version of their specific ballot. Now, they're not voting online, but they're accessing a ballot online.
Okay.
So then they'll print out that ballot, sign it, and then return that to our office. To prevent and protect voters' privacy and security, we don't want to transmit their submission of ballots and their votes, through the internet. And actually, that's at this point not even legal to do. So we have information, actually, how-to video and information online about how to use the remote accessible program.
I think we're taking a step in the right direction, offering, voters that opportunity, because it was obviously important enough to her where she contacted us so she could find out what to do. So I'm glad that there's an option for her.
Yeah.
So all the colleges are starting to return to school. We have San Jose State, Stanford, all kinds of colleges around here. Students will be living on campus, some new that are moving to the county. So do they have to re-register to vote, or can they bring their ballot from another county here? How does that work for college students?
Sure, they can actually do both. So the law was changed recently that a student can drop off their ballot from any county at any county. So we have students that may be here in Santa Clara County going to San Jose State, and maybe they live in Southern California. They can drop off their ballot from, let's say, Los Angeles County with us, and we will forward it to the appropriate county. So they don't have to re-register, but students may want to re-register. Maybe they're staying here for the next 2 years going to school, and they'd like to vote on issues and that are relevant to the area that they are going to be living in for a while. So they can either register on registertovote.ca.gov. They could call our office. We could mail them a registration card, or many of the post offices, social service agencies, and libraries have registration cards. They can pick one up.
That's awesome.
But the easiest really is just to go ahead and register online, especially if you have like a driver's license or an ID issued from the DMV, because we connect with them and we can obtain your signature from your DMV registration. So it's really easy.
I'm sure college students would love to hear that, because every single one of them probably has a phone in their hand right now. If they wanted to change their information, they could just go online. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what keeps you interested in working in the elections field, especially after all of these years?
There's like two major things. Well, one, I can make a difference. I have, like I said, dedicated over 32 years to public service here in the county. And that is one of the reasons, is because I can make a difference. That I can personally do everything I can to ensure that we have that fair and accurate election. I mean, that's what we are here to do. I am proud. I'm very proud to work here, to help our voters, have their voices heard, because they need to get out and vote and have those voices heard. And we're providing that platform, the opportunity, the options, the language services, the accessibility services for them to do that. And the second and as equal reason really is my ROV family here. Everyone I work with here is dedicated and passionate about elections. As I said earlier, it gets in your blood. It really does. You could talk to other county election officials and we say the same thing. We're kind of a glutton for punishment because we do a lot of hours. The election field is very demanding, and we spend a lot of time away from our families at our homes, but it is so worth it. It is so worth knowing you can make a difference in people's lives and, allow them that opportunity to get out and vote and have their voices heard. So it's really the voters and my ROV family that, keep me inspired and keep me in elections.
I love that about you. You always say that you're ROV family, but I hear it in the staff too. Just talking to different employees, different divisions. That's the same. They always say that. They always say they're ROV family, but that comes from you. So that's amazing that we have a leader that everybody really wants to do a good job for you. They really want to work hard for the voters, of course, but to make you proud too. Like I've heard it from staff that they're like, they love working here. They love working for you. You make everybody feel comfortable and everybody feel like they are part of a family. Yes, everybody has their little things that go on with each other, but at the end they know they're all working, for the voters, for the county, for you. So it's a great place to work. We appreciate you.
Well, just
really
as
do.
much as I appreciate you and all the staff. I mean, it just all touched my heart in so many ways, all the things that you all do and the work and the hours and it's just amazing.
It's kind of funny.
Amazing.
I've talked to a couple people from different divisions that they're like, I never thought I'd be able to work in a place like this. And I'm like, this is like their dream job, to work in a place where they actually make a difference. You know what I mean? Like they know that ballot that they're reviewing, or that thing that they're proofing, or that vote center they set up, they're very proud of what they do here. So it's like, it's like carries on. It's spreading. Everybody appreciates their impact that they have. So and
I know I've heard staff who go home and review the ballots, and help their family members, and they're like, I proofread that.
Yeah.
I worked on, that ballot and the thousands of different versions of the ballots we have. But it really takes a special person with such commitment to work in the Registrar of Voters office. So I really do appreciate everyone who's here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you would like to add at the close of our first podcast?
I really want to plead to the voters, to the people that are watching our first podcast here. Voting is how every person can express their voice. Then people in our nation fought, died for this right to vote. And sometimes I feel, I don't want to cry. I mean, just sometimes I feel people take that right for granted. And it just really encouraged people to get out and vote. I mean, our elected officials are the ones who are making the decisions for so many things in all of our lives at every level. Our local city council, they're making decisions that affect all the residents in our city. Our local school board members are making decisions on what our children are going to learn in school. So there are so many things, really even at this local level, that voters need to think about and look at the elected officials who have control over those decisions. If you want to say in who's making those decisions, you need to get out and vote. Only 35% of the voters turned out in this last primary election, but that 35% made a decision for 100% of us because they're the ones who got out and had their voices heard. So that is my plea to anybody listening, no matter what county you live in. Just make sure you're registered and you vote. Make that plan. You can register online. Even with new conditional voter registration, you can register and show up at a vote center and vote also. So register and vote at the same time. So I just want to remind people not to forget to register and get ready. Make that plan for November 8th. And actually, I want to let all the voters know, because many of them aren't aware, our office actually opens for voting 29 days for every election. So this upcoming November election, we will be open on October 10th, where any voter can come into our office and vote. So get out and vote. There is no excuse not to.
And some people might be off that day because it is a holiday, but our office is open, right?
That is correct. We're going to be open for voters to come in on the holiday. Yes.
I love it. Thank you. So I love that. I love what you said about what your plea is to everyone to vote, to make sure you register and to make sure you go out and vote. I was listening to a speaker the other day, and she was saying it didn't matter if you were the president or you're someone that just turned 18. We all have the same voice when it comes to our vote. So you have that one. Everyone is equal. It doesn't matter where you stand on the, on any scale. We all have the same voice when it comes to our votes. I love that. But don't forget, the last day to register to vote. We do want to encourage our listeners, or people see our podcast, to go to our website. We have a lot of information on there, sccvote.org. You could follow us on all our social media platforms. We have everything from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor, YouTube, LinkedIn, you name it. You can follow us. We have a lot of good information out there for all ages, all of our voters, no matter what, where they are in the county. They're able to reach and see anything that we have that we're putting out there, so you can make sure that you're informed about what's coming up for the election. So, anything else? Well, we've known each other a very long time. Like, she's you started 97?
95.
95? That's when I started at Secretary of State, was in 96. So we've known each other a long time. So, but when you get choked up, I think it's because when I see you get choked up, like, I know where it's coming from. Like, you're not making it up because we're on a camera. You know what I mean? Like, you
That's
heartfelt, true. Like, it's coming from the heart that you feel like that about us, about, you know, and you don't care, like, if it's a student intern or if it's like your fellow AROV, like, you care about all of us equally. So I wasn't making that up about the staff, because I've actually heard them say that. They really like working for you, and they like doing a good job for you.
Well, you wouldn't tear up if you didn't have that passion either. I know, caring about that.
But
so I know we know
because we
what
know
it's
each other.
like. We know each other, and we both have the passion for it and the caring, and want everything to be done right, and every voter serviced, and every ballot that can be counted in there. You know, we're 1,000% behind the work here.
I hope you enjoyed our first podcast, Election Connection, episode 1, with our Registrar of Voters, Shannon Bushey. And we hope you make the election connection. And don't forget to register and vote.